Hi, folks. This is Mark by Mark A. Foster, Ph.D., for the Institute for Dialectical Meta-Realism. In this episode, I want to talk about Shoghi Effendi, the guardian of the Bahá'í faith. So this is a change of pace from what I normally talk about on this channel, and it will represent a shift in focus. And so future podcasts may be on this topic or related topics as well, now that I have expanded the breadth of things that I will be discussing here. Shoghi Effendi, who was he? Shoghi Effendi was the guardian of the Baha'i faith. That means that he was the great-grandson of Baha'u'llah, the prophet founder of the Baha'i faith, and he was appointed by Baha'u'llah's son, Abdul-Baha, as the guardian of the cause of God, or the guardian of the Baha'i faith. According to Abdul-Baha, everyone needs to leave a will. Shoghi Effendi did not leave a will. Now, I know that there are some people who think that he did, or have tried to interpret some of his other writings as the equivalent of a will, and I certainly respect those views. My view, however, is different. I would say, just up front, it is clear that Shoghi Effendi did not leave a will. I mean, or at least he did not leave anything that he called a will. So based upon that, I think that there is only one conclusion. There's no will. People looked around for Shoghi Effendi's will, and they couldn't find one. That was a major source of anxiety immediately after the passing of Shoghi Effendi. I don't understand why it is that people were so surprised. I'm sure there's a reason, but I don't know, and I suspect it has to do with the fact that it was a different generation where people did not ask the kinds of open questions that people are willing to ask today. For example, are you going to have any children? Can you have any children? Will you be able to have children? Things like that. Nobody asked questions like that back in the 1930s, 40s, or 50s. So apparently, Shoghi Effendi was never confronted by that. No one ever asked that question. Who is going to be the next guardian? Because according to Baha'i law, the guardian needs to be somebody who is either the son of the current guardian or another male person in the guardian's family. And there was nobody like that who was eligible to be the guardian of the cause of God after Shoghi Effendi died. So, what do I think happened? It is different, I think, than what most people think. Maybe all people think. I have no idea. I have not asked all other people, so I don't know what their views are. I can only tell you what my views are. And in my conversations with people, I have never run into someone who has expressed the view that I now hold. So let me tell you what that view is. My view is that Shoghi Effendi did not leave a will because he wasn't going anywhere. In other words, the point of leaving a will is to transfer your possessions to another person, or to name somebody as your successor. In the case of Shoghi Effendi, well, Shoghi Effendi had no one to be a successor, so there was nothing to will. Shoghi Effendi, the guardian of the cause of God, in other words, remained the guardian of the cause of God even after he died. That is my view. So Shoghi Effendi is still the guardian of the cause of God. There are some people who have, unfortunately, but that's their prerogative, attacked the Baha'i faith by calling us the guardianless Baha'is. Precisely the opposite is true. We have the guardian. Shoghi Effendi is the guardian right now. Now, was there a provision for Shoghi Effendi to appoint a successor and for his successor to appoint a successor and so on? Yes, but that was only possible if there was somebody who met the qualifications. Otherwise, no one could be appointed. And if no one was appointed as Shoghi Effendi's successor, that means he had no successor. The fact that Shoghi Effendi, in my view, is in the next world, is in the afterlife, the hereafter, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. Who cares? The line separating this world from the world to come is not really a line. It is simply a difference in degree. We cannot see the realms above our own, and there are multiple, maybe infinite realms above our own, because we are trapped in our bodies. And it is our senses, our five senses, or however many senses we have. Some people say we have more than five, but 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever. I have no idea. But it is our senses which prevent us from seeing or perceiving the worlds which lie beyond, or I would say more accurately, within this one. Because to me, all the worlds of God don't go up, don't go out, they go within. And so the next world, the hereafter, is literally within this world. And there is a realm which lies in between this world and the hereafter, which I think is referred to by Baha'u'llah as the Valley of Wonderment. That is the realm of Holy Spirits, or as some people call them, guardian angels, who watch after us and confirm us and give us encouragement and sustain us and awaken us. So I call those Holy Spirits awakeners. But Shoghi Effendi is also within this world. He's also within this world. He has direct access and content to the content of this world. It doesn't matter that he is deceased. And I think that is the problem that we have in comprehending it. The fact that we have no way of perceiving the hereafter because of our bodies and our five senses does not mean that people in the hereafter cannot perceive us, because they have no senses and they can perceive all of the levels which lie external to them, including this plane of existence, the material or physical world. One of the statements made by Abdu'l-Baha in his will and testament was that the guardian of the cause of God, Shoghi Effendi, would be the head of the Universal House of Justice. And I think that he still is. There is a Universal House of Justice, and its head is still Shoghi Effendi. He is in the next world. But so what? He is in communion with this world. I pray to Shoghi Effendi. I look to Shoghi Effendi for guidance. To me, he is still the guardian of the cause of God, and he will remain so, at least until the coming of the next prophet, and perhaps for longer than that. That is a station that Shoghi Effendi has, that was given to him by his grandfather, Abdu'l-Baha. And it is one that we can all rely upon. We can trust that Shoghi Effendi is in the realm that he is in, and he is watching all of us. and that he guides the universal house of justice whenever he wants to, as the guardian of the cause of God and as the interpreter. So, because Shoghi Effendi is in the next world and we in this world cannot directly see it or hear it or smell it or whatever, we have no way of perceiving Shoghi Effendi's interpretations. Does that mean he is not making them? No, not necessarily. But we have no way of knowing what those interpretations are. Now, I would like to think, and this is only a personal speculation, that Shoghi Effendi guides the Universal House of Justice as the interpreter. And his interpretations fill the minds of the members of the House of Justice in this world. And as a result, the members of the House of Justice in this world are able to absorb the guidance given by Shoghi Effendi, and perhaps that guidance may be incorporated into their own decisions. Now, the House of Justice has never said what I said, and I think there is a very good reason for it, because there is no way to substantiate what I said. It's not mentioned in the Baha'i texts. So basically, in saying that the guardian is still functioning as the interpreter from the next world, I am speculating. I don't know if those interpretations can reach the other members of the House of Justice. I would like to think so, but I literally have no way of knowing. It is purely a speculation on my part, albeit, in my opinion, a wonderful speculation. I certainly hope it is true, but it may not be true. Regardless, even if that part of what I'm saying is not true, what is true, I believe, is that Shoghi Effendi is still the guardian of the Baha'i faith. And as such, Shoghi Effendi is still the head of the House of Justice. So when critics of the Baha'i faith call the Baha'i faith and call members of the Baha'i faith the guardianless Baha'is, they are saying that out of a misconception. And I think it is, again, because of the fact that we cannot see the next world. And so when we are going about our daily duties, we go about our duties as if there were no next world because we can't see it. Now, occasionally, we may have dreams or visions where aspects of the next world may be conveyed to us. That, I think, can happen. We can't control that. We can't rely upon it. And even if we get those inspirations, we cannot be sure that they are not simply our own imaginations. I would never trust what I think is an inspiration to be an inspiration. Never. I would always assume that there is a good possibility that it is simply my own imagination. Needless to say, despite all of that, I think what I have said may resolve the issue. At least it does for me. Because again, there is a guardian of the cause of God, Shoghi Effendi. He never left us. There is a head of the faith, or a head of the House of Justice, Shoghi Effendi. And the guardian of the cause of God, in consort with the other members of the House of Justice, are collectively the head of the Baha'i faith. I hope that that has been a reassuring message, a message that may clarify some things for some people. Now, I am the first person to admit that everything I said might be bunk. It might very well all be bunk. I cannot support what I'm saying by turning to the Baha'i texts. The Baha'i texts do not address that issue. But Occam's razor, when you're talking about the fact that the guardian had no successor, what does that mean? That the guardian is still the guardian. If you could not appoint someone, and Shoghi Effendi himself said that the guardianship cannot be divorced from the world order of Baha'u'llah, then it stands to reason that Shoghi Effendi is still the guardian of the cause of God. In addition, when Shoghi Effendi made that statement that the guardianship is inseparable from the world order of Baha'u'llah, Shoghi Effendi, while not elderly, was already getting on in years. And it was seeming increasingly doubtful, at least it would to me if I were around at that time, that there would be a guardian. So again, I don't know why it was so surprising. I mean, Shoghi Effendi died relatively young compared to what we might think is now a standard age for men to die. Relatively young. But still, at the age he died, it is unrealistic to think that he would have had a son that could have been the next guardian. So why did nobody ever ask Shoghi Effendi that question? And again, I think it goes back to the idea of the period. In the 30s, 40s, and 50s, those kinds of questions were generally not asked. They were seen as personal. They were seen even as sexual. You don't ask a person questions about their private life like that. Despite that, I would think that some people at least must have thought about it. Maybe not. I don't know. I think I would have. Now, whether I would have asked the guardian, I don't know, because here I am in 2024. I am not back in the 1950s. So if I were living in the 1950s, I assume I would be a different kind of person than I am now, from a different generation. So I can't just take myself and transplant myself back to the 1950s without making adjustments to my personality and my character. And I have no idea what adjustments I would need to make. But all we can do is, from our present vantage point, the vantage point of the 21st century, the end of the first quarter of the 21st century, look back and consider the fact that maybe, just maybe, Shoghi Effendi remains the guardian of the cause of God. Veliya Emrullah in Persian, or in Arabic, Waliya Emrullah. And he will always be the guardian of the cause of God because there was nobody else to be the guardian of the cause of God. Somebody can't just rise up and say, well, I am a secret relative of Shoghi Effendi. No, that couldn't happen. Why? Because the guardian needs to be appointed by the previous guardian. And the previous guardian, or I would say the current guardian, never appointed a successor. So we are stuck, if you want to consider it to be stuck, with having Shoghi Effendi. Now, I do not think of it as stuck. I think of it as wondrous. To me, it's absolutely wondrous that we have a guardianship in the next world and a house of justice with its members in this world. And so we have a kind of, I don't know, a trans-dimensional head of the faith, the guardian in the next world, the members of the house of justice here. What a wondrous concept. If it is true, and please do not accept my word on it, I might very well be entirely wrong. But I would request, obviously you are free to ignore my request, but I would request that you at least reflect upon what I have said. And then please comment below this video and give your thoughts on whether you agree with me, or if not, why not? And I'm not asking that because I'm looking for an argument. Quite the opposite. I'm asking that because I want to enter into a dialogue with people on the subject. So far, I have not. So far, what has happened in my life with Baha'is has been a monologue. I have presented my views, and on one occasion, somebody said, "Huh, I never thought of it that way before." And that's what I'm going to get, because most people have not thought of it that way before. And so you have the benefit of listening to what I'm saying in a podcast, being able to think about it, and then coming back to this podcast, this episode, and replying to what I have said. So I would humbly request that you do that. And then perhaps we can have a dialogue, and you may even convince me that I am entirely misguided about this. I am open to anything. I am open to any possibility. My mind is certainly not made up on this subject. I realize that it's an innovative idea. It's my own idea. I'm not attached to it one way or the other. For the time being, this has been Mark by Mark A. Foster, Ph.D., for the Institute for Dialectical Meta-Realism. Have a pleasant day and an even better day tomorrow.